In the last stream, we were working on starting out on the Cold Ocean questline, which we completed along with the Bonecraft questline, allowing us to set up all of the stuff that we have right here. We got a bunch of strainers. We expanded out our base using the room opolis mod and the room keys. We got ourselves a little family of ducks, and we set up automation over here to automatically turn all of our fish, which we are getting in this strainer down here, into raw fish fillets, and of course, fish bones. Those fish bones particularly useful as they are our main source of bones, bone meal, and bone blocks going forward. Between streams, I have done a little bit more of what we did last episode. I've chopped down some more trees. I recreated another bait box, although we are once again almost out of bait box durability down there, so I should probably make another one. And I also refilled these guys over here with yet more leaves to get us yet more stone pebbles and yet more worms. We are at a point now where we have kind of too many worms, especially given that it only takes one worm to make one bait box. And other than that, there's not really a use for the worm. And I also don't really know if we're going to need that many bait boxes going forward. Thankfully, we can also use these as a composting tool. So we can also turn these into bone meal as well, which I think is going to be sensible because, again, I really don't think we're going to need more than a stack of these. Like the 42 that we have in this chest is probably going to be more than enough. And so I think right away here, we can probably just go ahead and do something like this and turn all of our worms into bone meal. More than anything else, just to kind of clear up the backlog because they take up so many inventory spaces if we just leave them. So we'll go ahead and dump those out. Real quick as well, people have pointed out in the Twitch chat that we can take these mallard duck eggs and craft them into boiled duck eggs. Don't ask me the physics of how that works, but this is yet another food source that we can go ahead and eat, and that is of course going to contribute to us getting even more hearts through the Spice of Life mod later on down the line. Also, real quick here, if you hover over something that you're going to craft like this, you can just press K and it will automatically do that craft for you. Just a little bit of a small tip there to make crafting the stone pebbles into cobblestone just that little bit faster. But of course, right at the end of the last episode, we finally crafted the full diving suit here. And so we can now enter the ocean without immediately getting the poison debuff. And so there are now more hostile mobs around us. I assume that the shark is going to attack me if I get close enough, so I will try and stay as far away as possible from that shark. But real quick, I think what we should do right at the start of the episode here is get a shovel. It's probably also worth getting an upgraded pickaxe as well. And I'm just going to go ahead and throw away this pre-existing wooden pickaxe that we have. In the top left, there is a trash can. If you put something in here and then you leave, that just deletes the item. So a very easy way of deleting stuff if you don't want to keep it. And now that we have some upgraded tools, I guess whilst I'm doing it, I might as well also go ahead and upgrade the hatchet as well, just so that we can chop down trees slightly faster going forward as well. And again, I'm going to go ahead and just throw away this old axe just so it doesn't clog up our inventory too much. And looking at the next quest line here, we are specifically looking for gravel, dirt, sand, clay, and kelp. Those are all the items that we're looking for. I might even go ahead and make a couple of shovels here because I have a feeling, especially if we're mining all this stuff, all of this is mined with a shovel. Gravel, sand, dirt, and clay is all shovel territory. And so I think it is going to make sense for us to have a couple of shovels here because if we want to get large amounts of all of those resources, we're going to tear through our shovel's durability very, very quickly. So I'll make a few more of these. And then now if we head down, I'm hopeful that we can very quickly descend to the bottom of the ocean here. And we're just looking to get all of the stuff that we just mentioned. So clay, very useful. We'll take some of that. I did see some gravel over here, of course, with some dirt as well. We'll take, ideally, all of that. Fantastic. Not much dirt, but a little bit of dirt. There is some more dotted around. I've not seen any sand. Of course, down here, we do have a little pocket of air that we can stand in to kind of regenerate our oxygen. And we could have also potentially brought some of those glow torches down with us because it is a little bit dark down here. Now, I don't actively see any... Oh, never mind. There's some sand. Fantastic. By the way, I'm pressing C to use the zoom mod. I think that's the default keybind, and I think it is in the pack by default as well. So if you just press C, it will do that kind of camera zoom that you see me doing like this. And you can use the scroll wheel then to zoom in and out as well. That is almost everything that we need. we've got some coarse dirt. We should be able to turn that into regular dirt fairly easily. I do see a shark over there, so I'm going to kind of back up a little bit, and I think we have just about enough oxygen to get back to where we need to go. Real quick, let me see if I can't get a bit of kelp here, because we do need that. Worst case scenario, we could try to create another little pocket of oxygen, but I am pretty confident here that we should be fine. And I think one of the quest lines that we're about to complete is to make a botany pot, which should hopefully allow us to automate the production of kelp. And so although we definitely didn't get all of the kelp that we possibly could have there, I think we should be able to get way more going forward fairly easily using that botany pot. The rest of the kelp could be pretty tricky to get. It should be possible, but the air above us is toxic. Of course, the kelp will slowly but surely kind of rise up over this way, but I believe if we pop our head up above water, we do start to take toxic damage. Our diving suit doesn't protect us against that, so that is definitely something to bear in mind. Although, if we avoid that shark as well, we should be able to grow the kelp ourselves very quickly in water as well, if we so wish. People in the Twitch chat are asking me if we can set home. That's a good question. We can indeed, and so now, no matter where we are in the world, we can go ahead and type in /home, not /home, just /home, and that will take us back to wherever we set the /home. Particularly useful if we're close to death in the ocean. Didn't quite use as much of my shovel's durability as I thought I would there, but what we should be able to do here is quickly craft up a hoe, and we should be able to turn all of our coarse dirt here into regular dirt using the hoe and then breaking it with the shovel. We can. Nice. And given just how much gravel there was down on the bottom of the water, we can definitely use our dirt here with gravel to make more coarse dirt and effectively turn gravel into dirt using just a hoe, because of course now we can replace all of these down like so, use FTB Ultimine to hoe all of these at the same time, and then use our shovel to pick all of those up and get us even more dirt. Nice, and that kind of completes a bunch of quests all at once, and the quests themselves do give us more gravel, more dirt, more sand, and yes, more clay, but only once we've crafted some clay balls. Cool. Real quick, let's get some sand cooking up in here. I'm not quite sure how much we're going to need, but the quest does want us to smelt some, so we'll get that going. Over here, we also do need to get some brick as well. We're not really at a point where we're worrying too much about cobblestone right now, so I will also go ahead and use this to start smelting up yet more stuff. In this case, we're going to smelt up some bricks. And as I mentioned earlier, this quest line here is going to take us to botany pots and then to hopper botany pots. And these are kind of like very powerful mini auto farms that are going to allow us to automatically farm things like saplings and also, more importantly for this quest line, things like kelp. I say more importantly because looking further down here, the quest book wants us to make dried kelp, which of course we can do by either using a campfire, a furnace, or a smoker. The smoker is the fastest. You'll see the campfire takes 30 seconds, the regular furnace takes 10, the smoker takes 5, and so we should definitely go ahead and make ourselves a third furnace here, and then if we combine that with 4 logs, we should be able to upgrade that right away to a smoker, which we'll throw down, and we'll drop our kelp right in there, of course, with ideally a little bit of fuel as well to get that going. I'm going to keep some of the kelp just to make sure we can grow more in just a second here. We'll take the glass, we'll take the bricks, and the reason we need so much kelp is because the next quest line has the dirty mulch here. The dirty mulch requires regular mulch. The mulch requires 5 blocks of dried kelp, and I think we're going to need quite a few blocks of mulch to make all of the different kinds of mulch that we're then going to use going forward to make different resources. So kelp is a high priority item, and we do want to get quite a lot of it. For now, though, what we can go ahead and do is grab ourselves a flower pot, and then if we want to get the botany pot here, we need 5 terracotta with that 1 flower pot. Thankfully, we've got 6 blocks of clay, and so real quick, we'll put 3 in here, and we'll also put 2 in here. Those are going to smelt down to the 5 blocks of terracotta needed for the botany pot, and then we are going to want to upgrade that to the hopper botany pot. For that, thankfully, we just need 1 of the standard wooden hoppers. It doesn't require a regular iron hopper, which is very nice indeed. And so back over here, you can do this to make 4 chests at a time. Very helpful little recipe. And if we do something like this, we can get our wooden hopper, which as soon as we have our 5 terracotta, which is going to be any second now, fantastic, we should be able to craft up the botany pot. like so. Make sure you put it in your inventory. If you don't put it in your inventory, the quest won't complete. For example, if you left it in the crafting table and just used it straight away to craft the hopper botany pot, that wouldn't register and you'd have to make another one to complete the quest. And once we have both of those, what we can then do is place these down on a chest. So let's take this chest for now. We'll put it down over here. We'll place the botany pot on top of it, like so. And if we want to grow kelp in a botany pot, we do have to put water into the botany pot. It doesn't use any soil, and so we just right-click the water, I think, not like that. Okay, so unfortunately, it looks like we do have to have an iron bucket to make this work. We can't just put the water into the botany pot. We have to put in specifically a bucket of water or a bucket of tropical fish or whatever it is to make it work. So for the time being, what we'll do instead is we'll throw some dirt and we'll throw a sapling in there. What that's going to do, as you can see in the top left, it's going to slowly but surely grow that sapling. Once it's fully grown, once that progression bar hits 100, it's going to go ahead and chop it down and it's going to produce some items. You'll see here that it's going to produce logs, sticks, apples, and saplings. They all have different percentage chances. So you're guaranteed to get some logs. You're going to get between 2 and 4. There's a 10% chance to get some sticks. There's a 5% chance to get an apple. And there's a 15% chance to get a light colored sapling. But then it's just going to keep going. It will just restart. It will grow again. And it will just keep going forever and ever, producing more resources for us. Ideally, we do want to do that with the kelp. But for the time being, that unfortunately doesn't seem to be an option. And so if we do want more kelp, we are going to have to go out and get it the old-fashioned way, at least until we get to a point where we can get some iron for that iron bucket. Either way, over on this side of the quest book, we do now need to make the aforementioned block of dried kelp, which I'm hopeful we have enough kelp to do. We do. And from there, of course, as we saw before, if we want to get the mulch, we need 5 blocks of dried kelp. And so I guess we are going to head back out into the open ocean and see if we can't get a ton of this kelp. It should be pretty straightforward. It should mostly just be a case of breaking the bottoms here and then floating up to try and grab it before it all goes to the surface. Okay, so a little bit of kelp harvesting later. We didn't get quite as much as I was initially planning on getting, but the reason for that is that the Twitch chat has pointed out that you can in fact grow mulch. There was even a tooltip for it in the bottom left here. I pressed pause for a second and there was a tip that said that you can grow mulch in a barley pot. And it turns out it's true. If we look at the recipe here, you can just put mulch into a botany pot and it will produce more mulch so long as there is some dirt beneath it. And so we really only need to get enough dried kelp to make the 1 block of mulch. And so in our case, we need 5 blocks of dried kelp plus 4 normal kelp. And at that point, we should be able to get unlimited mulch going forward. And that's going to make life just a whole heck of a lot easier. We do also need to pick up our smoker by the looks of it as well, because we didn't get the quest reward for that. That is fine. And then once we have that, we can begin crafting things like dirty mulch here and sandy mulch, and we can use those to get a bunch of different items. The sandy mulch, by the looks of it, we're going to use in a strainer, you guessed it, to make a bunch of different items. We can also use the dirty mulch to make seeds, and we can use those seeds to get things like wheat, hay, and then the summoning block. We'll get to that in just a second. For now, though, I'm going to go ahead and quickly smelt up all of the kelp required to get 5 blocks of dried kelp, and then we'll go ahead and get this mulch growing. And once we have our 5th block of kelp, we can get our mulch. And now back over here, we'll see that this has been working. We have been passively getting some saplings and some logs. It's probably worth getting another botany pot to keep going with the saplings, just so that we don't have to manually keep chopping down trees going forward. But now, in some, again, bizarre fashion, don't ask me the physics of how this works, but the mulch is growing much faster than the tree, I might add, and it is automatically kind of duplicating and cloning itself, which is fantastic. So now we can craft this, for example, with dirt to get dirty mulch, and we can use that dirty mulch in our strainer with the bone mesh to get different kinds of seeds. Not a very high chance at all of getting this, which is unfortunate. I do wonder if it's going to be worth us getting more botany pots to make more mulch more faster, because I feel like we're going to need a lot of that dirty mulch to get any kind of seed. Although, I guess, to be fair, we only need to get like 1 wheat seed in order to be able to make the wheat here. So hopefully we get that fairly soon, but for the most part, the odds here are not particularly high. but we'll leave that running. We are going to get other seeds, which we can, of course, use. Let's also take some of our mulch here, which I guess is coming in quite fast, actually, and we'll use that to make some sandy mulch. The sandy mulch, also usable, you guessed it, in a strainer, and this is going to make kelp, cactus, sea pickles, sugarcane, bamboo, all kinds of greenery. So we'll throw that in there and let that do its thing. And then that, I think, is kind of it. We do get an extra mulch there, which is very nice indeed. And if I go pick up my smirker, I think this quest line is basically done. It is. Nice. And the mulching chapter isn't going to take that much time either. It's really just a case of leaving these running until we get kind of the stuff that we want, which might take a little while. Again, it's just a case of getting more sand, getting more dirt, and kind of crafting those into their different tiers of mulch and running those mulches through their respective strainers. I do assume, though, that we've probably now unlocked this one right here. We have indeed, because there's also gravel mulch. We can craft our gravel, you guessed it, with the regular old mulch from in here. That gets us gravel mulch, potentially the most useful of all, because this is going to allow us to get different kinds of ore pieces. So let's, first of all, claim our 8 extra gravel mulch, very useful, and let's go ahead and run this through. The chances are also so much higher, which is fantastic. Unfortunately, if we want to get iron, we need to have an iron mesh or a bronze mesh. I'm assuming we're going to get bronze first because I see we're going to make tin and copper, and that tin and copper can be used to make unfired bronze there. So presumably, right now, if we put it in with a lower tier mesh, we can get copper, yes, and we can get tin. And the odds on that are not super high, but we're going to have to live with it. So we'll throw that in. That's going to go ahead and get us some good stuff. Let's go ahead and split this between a few of these strainers just to make it that little bit faster. Over here, we still no wheat seeds, unfortunately. We have got a bunch of stuff here, which is most of these quests taken care of. We're just missing a little bit of seagrass. I don't know if we like absolutely need the seagrass, but I would like to get that quest complete, so I will do a quick one of these. And the same is true for the dirt as well. I would like to get those seeds so we can get the summoning block, so we'll throw that in as well over there. For now, we'll go ahead and dump all of the greenery that we just acquired over into here. And of course, going forward, we could set up botany pots. I think for most of these, if we needed more cactus, more sugarcane, or more bamboo, a lot of those are just growable on sand or dirt. Back over here, still no wheat seed, but we do have copper and tin. And I think these are going to be quite useful for us. So I'll claim my freebies, and presumably we can now craft these into tin and copper ore. We can. Again, you can press K while hovering over it to just do the craft automatically. Alternatively, you can do the craft in your crafting grid. Either would work. And we then need to break these. Are these? Oh, these are gravel ores, I see. So we have to place these down and then break these with a shovel, by the looks of it. A pickaxe might work, but it does say shovel at the top there. So I will grab a shovel and we'll give this a go. You'll see a little tick in the top left. Thankfully, we do get quite a few pieces from that, which is quite useful. And then presumably we can just smelt these into their ingot form. We can. And then to make a blast furnace, we just need 1 ingot of each with some stone and some furnaces. That is fine. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's go ahead and craft up 2 more furnaces. I do believe we should have some stone over in here. We've got 3. How much do I need? I need 5. So we are going to have to smelt a little bit more stone as well. That's not a problem. Let's quickly get some more fuel to make sure that both of these continue to run. And let's also do a quick check again. Still no wheat seeds and still no seaweed, eh? That's unfortunate. Thankfully, we can go ahead and get way more of this, though. If we do this and this, we can get a ton more of this gravel mulch. I'm going to hold off on using it just yet because I might want to save that until we can get iron, because that might just make a bit more sense. This is done. Let's throw the cobble in there to get a few more bits of regular stone. Because if we can get the bronze mesh before we start using this gravel mulch, we can hopefully look at getting the iron out of this gravel mulch as well, which would be tremendously useful. So just 1 more piece of cobblestone turned into stone is all that we need. Fantastic. That should be everything for the blast furnace. Totally is. Let's put that, I guess, here. And then from there, we just need this unified bronze, which is 3 copper and 1 tin. Unfortunately, we seem to have the inverse of that available to us. And so I guess let's use a little bit of our gravel mulch here to try and get just 1 more piece of copper. And after 1 more piece of copper, throw it down, break it down, and smelt it. That should be everything for the unified bronze. Let me quickly check how much bronze we need to make the mesh. We need 5, which is awkward because I think we get 4. Yeah, that's real awkward. So we are going to have to get 3 more copper to actually make this work. That's fine. We've got enough mulch to make it happen. We take the unfired bronze, we throw it in here with some more fuel. We did also complete another chapter there, which is very nice indeed. That's going to get us 4 bronze, but as we saw, we do need 5 to make the bronze mesh. But with that bronze mesh, we should then be able to start getting iron ore pieces and nickel ore pieces, and it looks like the pack is kind of really going to open up to us after that point as well. And so, real quick, I'm going to continue to run the gravel mulch through these 3 strainers here, here, and here. We still got a ton more gravel, and we do have more mulch coming in, so I'm not really too worried about it. And hopefully, we can get another 4 unfired bronze, which we can then smelt, and that should be everything for our mesh. And not too long later, we have our 5th bronze ingot. Fantastic. That should be everything that we need in order to make our bronze mesh. Nice. And so if we take this, it does mean we kind of limit ourselves to 1 strainer now, but if we put this in, we should now be able to start turning our gravel mulch into much more. And as you can see, we still got a ton of it. We'll take 36 gravel mulch. We'll whack all of that in there. And we're now going to start getting other stuff, including the iron ore pieces here, which are so much more likely. We've got a 70% chance to get iron ore pieces. And I assume the nickel ore is quite high as well. It is. It's also a 70% chance. So we're almost guaranteed to get those 2. Also lapis coming in as well. That is tremendously helpful. And of course, we can do the exact same stuff with these that we were doing with our copper and with our tin. We can place them down, break them, and then smelt them. One thing we can do is we can upgrade our strainer. We've not done it thus far, but there is an upgrade slot at the top. And if we go to @strainer, which is just the mod. So if you put the @ sign, by the way, you can then just go and it will show you all the items from that mod. So the strainer mod has all of these different upgrades. There are basically 4 upgrades, and then there are 4 different tiers of upgrade. They're laid out in a bit of a confusing manner, but there's improved, there is sturdy, there is reinforced, and then there is everlasting. And those are the 4 tiers. Inside each tier, there are 4 different types. So there's the blue, the red, the yellow, and the green. Those are the mesh upgrade, the input upgrade, the output upgrade, and the duration upgrade. And then you move up to the next tier, and it's the same again. It's the sturdy version of the mesh, the input, the output, and the duration. And then you move up again, and you get the idea. It's the same thing, but just at a different tier. So the 4 tier 1 mesh upgrades are these guys here. The duration upgrade is the one that I think we're going to make. That decreases the amount of time it takes for the strainer to make whatever it's making. So it just makes stuff faster. The output upgrade gives you a chance of getting more stuff from the output. In fact, if you press U here, you can hover over it and it tells you what you get. Again, it's kind of laid out awkwardly. I do wish these were kind of bunched together in a way that made sense, but I don't think they are. But if we can find this one, this is a duration modifier. And so it says 0.8x, making it essentially 20% faster. Perfect. The yellow one, this one right here, is an improved output upgrade. It says additional output chance 20%. So there's a 20% chance that when you get iron pieces, for example, that you'll get 2 instead of 1. Pretty good. There is the improved input upgrade. This is kind of the opposite. This gives you a chance that the input item is not consumed. So it's an 80% chance, which means approximately 1 in 5 times the gravel mulch, for example, just won't get used, but you'll still potentially get the output. And then finally, there is the improved mesh upgrade, which is this guy right here. This has a 20% chance, so again, 1 in 5 chance, that the durability on the mesh isn't used at all. So some of these are easier to make than others. The improved duration upgrade is pretty straightforward. It's 4 stone, 1 cobblestone, then 4 clocks, and the 4 clocks are actually pretty easy. Let me start smelting up a bit of stone here because we are going to need that. The clocks, though, if we want 4 of them, are just buttons. So if we take 16 planks and make 16 buttons, that's that bit taken care of. And then we can craft those around 4 pieces of stone, and that's going to get us the 4 clocks. You can then, by the way, also combine all 4 of these together into an improved everything upgrade. And then again, there's the same with the higher tiers. You can get the sturdy everything, the reinforced everything, and the everlasting everything, which is the best upgrade in the pack. But essentially, if you make the improved everything upgrade, you can put that in and you get all of the benefits combined. So you've got a faster strainer, you have a strainer that has a chance to not use the input item, has a chance to give you extra output items, and has a chance to not use the durability on the mesh as well. It's very powerful, very useful for us to have. I don't know if we're going to be able to make the everything version of the upgrade just yet, but what we should be able to do is make 2 more of these clocks and then make our improved duration upgrade. And if we go, flipping heck, there's so many eggs. If we go and put that in over here, we should start to see this going just that little bit faster, 20% faster to be specific, which I think is perfect for now. And of course, we can now begin taking all of these, crafting them down, and smelting them into their ingot forms. All right, and a little bit of smelting later. We now have quite a few, or at least a couple, I should say, of all of these pieces. Our inventory is a little bit of a mess. Real quick, I am going to, of course, go ahead and make even more of this gravel mulch so that we can keep this going and keep getting even more stuff passively. I did a quick look at how expensive all of these upgrades are to see if we could get the improved everything upgrade. I think we can make all of the upgrades apart from the improved input upgrade, because the improved output upgrade is just some copper, some stone, and some cobblestone. Easy enough. The improved duration upgrade we already have. The improved mesh upgrade is just 4 bone meshes or 4 copper meshes with stone and cobble. Easy enough. The hard one is the input upgrade, which requires 4 resource generators, each of which require 2 buckets of lapis and a bucket of water. So we would need to get a total of 8 blocks of lapis, which is, I think, 72 lapis in total to make this work. We're getting there. We've got 9, or I guess 10 with the one that we have in our inventory, but we need 72 if we're going to get all the way to that everything upgrade, which I do think is going to be worth investing in, but I don't think we're going to get just yet. We can go ahead and claim some of our quest rewards here, and we can also begin to look at the next quest, which is for the Eroding Salt Mulch. This is 3 iron, 3 mulch, and 3 lapis, or 3 nickel, 3 mulch, and 3 lapis. Either of those are very doable for us. We've got a bunch of mulch over in here, and of course we've got the aforementioned lapis over in here as well, and so that should be everything that we need in order to make some eroding salt mulch. I will use the iron one, we'll see how that goes, and from there, eroded cobblestone. So we can, I believe, make eroding water. Using a mulch block to create eroding water erodes blocks. So if I'm not mistaken, I think the idea here is that we can put down a mulch block, let's say right about here, and then if we right-click that with eroding salt mulch, it turns it into eroding water, which is a different kind of water, which is useful for the strainer here, because you'll see now, for example, the dust block is made by placing sand into a strainer that has eroding water above it. And so if we go and grab a single piece of sand, which I'm hopeful I kept in here, I did indeed, we can then place that sand into our strainer with the eroding water, like so. This one's not going to get the benefit, of course, of the duration upgrade because it's not in the strainer that has the duration upgrade, but this should produce us some dust, and we can use that dust to get redstone by placing it into a strainer that just has water. 50% chance with a tier 3 mesh. The tier 3 mesh, though, is what we have. It's a bronze mesh or an iron mesh, that's fine. And then niter, I assume, is very similar. Yeah, 30% chance kind of in this strainer here with the bronze mesh. And then lead ore pieces, again, a similar deal here, 70% chance in the strainer with the water above it and with the bronze mesh. And then from there, we can make lead. And at that point, interesting, we get access to a toxic air curio, which is just lead, and the water curio allows you to travel in water without taking damage. So I wonder if this allows us to not have to wear the diving suit, and I'm assuming that the toxic air curio allows us to go up to the surface without taking damage as well. So we're probably going to want to get more dust blocks because we're not going to get that much from this one right here. In fact, it's probably well worth getting the remainder of the sand that we have here and potentially thinking about going to get some more sand as well in just a second. But if we throw that in there, we did get 1 redstone. We also got 1. You can't put these back in, unfortunately, once they're out, and my inventory is a complete mess, but we did also get 1 lead fragment as well. But if we're going to make either of these, we do need way more lead than what we've currently got, and so we're definitely going to want to get more sand, and we're going to want to use that sand to make more dust, and then run that dust, of course, through our strainer with the bronze mesh. We do also have a quest for the resource generator, a smaller space to duplicate blocks, quite expensive on the iron front, but is going to allow us to duplicate things like stone and cobblestone without any power, which could be quite useful. We're not going to have to worry about getting cobblestone using the strainers anymore, and we're also not going to have to worry about smelting cobblestone into stone, which will be quite useful. And then the resource generator tier 2, I think kind of does the same thing, but it can also be upgraded. On top of that, it is also useful, as we saw before, for making strainer upgrades. It also looks like we can use it to make glass as well. I wonder if we can just kind of break this glass, get it back, and then put it back down to get more of it. I also do think we might be able to use the resource generator tier 2 to get more of these light blue colored stone bricks, which would be very useful because it's going to allow us to fix what I pointed out in the last episode, which is like this asymmetry between how the base is on this side of the tunnel and how the base is on this side of the tunnel. But essentially, real quick, I'm going to clear out my inventory. I'm going to go get a bunch more sand, turn that sand into dust, and then turn that dust into lead over in here, as well as, of course, redstone and niter to hopefully allow us to complete this quest line. All right, so not too long later, we've got a bunch more sand, and I've been turning it all into dust blocks. I've been turning those dust blocks, of course, into lead ore pieces, and then just like before, placing those down, breaking them with our shovel, and of course, smelting those over in here. It turns out you're not guaranteed to get 2 at a time. Like I thought you'd get 2 every time, but you don't. And so we're gonna get 11 here, which is not quite enough to make everything I want to make, unfortunately. We are going to be able to make the toxic air curio. That's fairly straightforward. Now, if we want to make the water curio, though, we do need 4 more, and we only have 3, unfortunately, which is pretty close, though. Over here, we should be able to throw these in. It's a 70% chance, so we do get lead ore pieces more often than we don't get them, so I'm hopeful that those 4 pieces there should hopefully get us like 3 more lead pieces, which we can then use to craft another block. And of course, we can then use that to get the water curio, presumably. Up here is the curio button, by the way. We can put our toxic air curio in there. And now that should allow us to breathe up on the surface. And as soon as we get this last lead ore piece, which is going to come in this time, I guarantee it. Next time. This one here will definitely work, though. This is going to give us our 4th and final lead ore piece. Fantastic. Let's take that, craft it round, place it down, shovel it up, and give it a quick smelt. Perfect. That's going to get us everything we need for the water curio as well. Seems a little bit less useful than the toxic air one because we already kind of have this effect. It does also require 4 more fabric as well, which we don't currently have, although we do have a ton of paper and we have some mini charcoal still. And so we should be able, just like we did in the last episode, to do something like this. And then, of course, craft that up with some more of the leafy string. Boom, 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 and boom with the filter in the middle. We need 4 of those. So that's 2 lots of it. Up here, lead is done. Let's do, I think it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. It was indeed. That gets us the water curio. That should be another quest line almost complete. If we want to complete it, there are a few more things we need to do. The first, really, we didn't get any niter? That is very surprising. Have I got the wrong mesh? I don't, right? Dust block in a strainer with bronze. Wait, did I just not take the niter out? That's my bad. There we go. The niter is available. I just didn't pick it up. That makes a lot of sense. The only quests we've not completed are the resource generator and the resource generator tier 2, which I don't think are doable just yet, simply because of the fact that we don't have enough lapis to make it. We might be close to having enough iron, but I think what we'll do is between streams, I'm going to go ahead and kind of leave this chugging along. I'll put the gravel in there, let that do its thing. Do we have a spare hopper over here? We do not. That's fine, though. We can make another wooden hopper very easily. My thought process being here that we can just hopper the gravel mulch into the strainer itself to continue making all of the iron, copper, lead, etc. that we actually want to get if we go ahead and quickly do something like this. We can then throw the gravel mulch into there, and that's going to continually feed down into the strainer, I assume, and that should continue to produce these resources so that hopefully next time we can get ourselves a resource generator and a resource generator tier 2. Again, useful in their own rights. We do want to be able to get quite a few of these resource generator tier 2s if we're going to make the higher tier strainer upgrade. But next time we can come back, we can look at the storage drawer questline. Automation is going to be interesting. I have not played with the Tom's Simple Storage mod, and so I'm very interested to see how that plays out and see how that works. And it looks like we're not too far away from getting into some tech mods like thermal expansion and whatnot as well. And also this stirling boiler looks new. I don't think I've seen that before, so I'm intrigued as to what that's about as well. But unfortunately, that is a problem for future Isaac, because for now we are out of time for this episode of Submerged.